King of glory, we thank you, Father Lord, even for this program, every contributor in this program, for investing their time, their talent, their treasure. Thank you, and we thank you again. Thank you for everyone that will join this meeting, everyone that is here now, and everyone that will watch it later. Thank you, Father Lord, for what they will learn even through this meeting. Thank you, Father Lord, for making them to understand, Father Lord. And we thank you, Father Lord, for making an eagle out of each and every one so that we'll make this world a better place. We just appreciate you. We say, hallowed be your name. Accept our thanks in Jesus' name. As we start the program, even this afternoon, Spirit of the living God, we ask you take your rightful place. We can do nothing outside of you. We ask, oh Lord, you imbibe yourself, Father Lord, in this program. We declare it open in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you very much. We are set for today's program. Welcome again to the annual Peter Bigel Foundation. This is the 2025 edition. So let me just give the intro before we hand over to the host of the day. Like I said, we're welcome to Peter Bigel Foundation 2025 annual lecture. Thank you very much for for all of us taking our time to join today. We definitely believe that we are going to have a very wonderful time today in Jesus' mighty name. The mission of the Peter Bigel Foundation is to encourage and empower immigrants achieve their dreams by making them aware of government incentives and resources available, particularly during the times of need, to help them achieve their goals and to improve their well-being. The vision is to provide information, organize seminars, webinars, retreats, to foster inclusion through community involvement and collaboration, curating and sharing essential resources for immigrants. We encourage immigrants to engage more actively in commerce, business, politics, and other sectors, while promoting the involvement of religious organizations in supporting their congregational welfare. We assist individuals and groups in accessing key services, especially in the social sector. Additionally, we highlight the achievements of immigrants in the diaspora. The theme for today's lecture is Innovation Without Borders, a round table on business and culture. Mr. Tope Idowu is our facilitator of the day. We have 4 members of the panels. So people of God, if you have any questions, please feel free to click the chat box, drop them. Our panelists will make time to answer them later. So Mr. Tope Idowu, our facilitator today, is a dramatist, producer, and director with body of works that traverses the stage, film, and television. He has worked for over 3 decades in the entertainment and cultural industry and explored projects that seek meanings and solutions to salient socio-political issues, especially those that relate to the struggles, triumphs, and hope of Africans and people of African descent. He's an alumnus of University of Ibadan, Nigeria and West Africa, and University of Vancouver in Canada. Mr. Temitope is the founder and executive director of Torpedo Vista, formerly known as TY Gold Productions, and has recently established a creative cooperative in the United States of America called C-Cube Studios, after a decade-long sojourn to document, celebrate, and publish successful and inspiring stories of resilience and exploits within the African descent. You're welcome, Mr. Tope. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a great honor to be here. I'm so excited when Pastor Wade told me about this, and I was thinking, okay, we're going to have a wonderful opportunity to rub minds with my people, with my elders, and with younger ones who are coming on. And I just look forward to a very, very productive session this afternoon. As we all know, the theme for this roundtable is innovation without borders. And it also centers around the issue of immigration, how we as immigrants are able to impact our societies where we are. And we're looking at opportunities, not only in the sphere of the kind of impact we make economically, we're also looking at the cultural impact we are making on all these societies that we're in. And it's not just here in America, it's all across the African diaspora, which extends way beyond this continent. The wonderful thing that I've come to realize is that we have been a very major part of the experiences of all these host nations that we have found ourselves. But most of the time, we are not able to articulate or celebrate what it is that we have done, that these people should really understand and know that we are forces for good in the environment. And it's opportunities like this that let us also understand how far we have gone, because even there are so many of us who don't even appreciate the scope of the kind of impact we have made so far. So this is an opportunity for us to really go into it. And I'm really looking forward to a very, very productive session this afternoon. To start off, I just want us to see certain basic facts that most of us might not even really understand are there. And that's why I want to start with this slide show presentation. I'm going to share my screen now so that we can all follow as I'm explaining these different factors. Thank you. Sorry there. All right. I hope everybody is on the page.
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you. Yes, so this is a fact file that I just compiled quickly so we can all see it and it can set the ground for our discussion this afternoon. The first thing is that immigrants own approximately 1/5 of all businesses in the United States of America. I'm sure many of us may find that a bit interesting, but really that is the truth. We are very entrepreneurial. And immigrants have also started nearly 1 in 5, which is pretty much like what we just did in the first slide, in the most recent reporting periods. That's between the years 2022 and 2024. The figures for this year are still being compiled, and I'm very sure that it can't go below that. It will even go much higher. Then immigrants own 91.1% of all employer businesses. That means most of the businesses that we have setting up in America, they are not necessarily business that we're setting up just for ourselves and our family members. We're also bringing in other people. And we have examples of people who have done phenomenally in this field, even amongst us today, as we will see when our discussion continues. Then immigrants are significantly more likely to start a business than native-born individuals. That is something for us to ponder. Then I look at economic contributions generally. The fact is, one, we expand the labor force in this country. Then secondly, we also drive entrepreneurship because immigrants start new businesses at a higher rate, way higher than native-born citizens. Then we also increase consumer demands in terms of, we live here, so we buy goods and services. We buy homes, we do all these things. So we increase that. And then we boost innovation. We boost innovation because we are here. And contrary to most of what many people think, we are very resourceful. And because of the challenges we might have been faced with, sometimes we have to look for ways to overcome a lot of hurdles. And in this process, there's a lot of innovation that attend everything that we do. Then we also contributed to government budgets because we pay taxes. We pay taxes. Those of us who have businesses, we do payroll deductions, there's income tax, and then of course the property and sales tax. So these are the different contributions that I see on the economic side. And on the cultural contribution, I just put this into four. We have contributions in culinary arts, arts and entertainment, traditions and holidays, language and innovation. These are four areas where immigrants cannot be pushed aside. We have really impacted this nation. And in fact, when you compare America to other countries, developed nations of the world, the uniqueness of America is able to absorb immigrants on a yearly basis. In fact, right now, the figure stands at about 2.6 million every year since COVID. But of course, we're in a very interesting time now that we have a lot of issues with immigration and stuff like that. So that just pretty much tells us that we are contributing to this society in a phenomenal way, and there is nothing not to celebrate about what we have done. Now, today, our discussion is going to look into how our culture or how the business, how it affects our business, how it affects the different things that we do. And I'm hoping that with the four panelists that we have today, our speakers, we are going to get to the bottom of this, and we'll have opportunities for us to rub minds and profile solutions that even those who may not be here, when they watch the video later, they may be able to learn a thing or two. Yes, so we have Engineer Olu Ademokun, and we have Ojoadem Corporation, and we have Sidiki Donzo, and Fatamata Kamara, and Pastor Adewale Oloshunde. These are the four people that are the speakers today. So without further ado, I'd just like to ask each of them to please introduce themselves to us and tell us a bit about themselves. Thank you. We'll start with you, Engineer Ademokun.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Olulade Ademokun. Of course, I'm from Ijare in the Federal Local Government of Ondo State, Nigeria. I'm an engineer by profession. Came to this country 2009, and as an engineer, I became current registered engineer back home in Nigeria in the year 2000, and coming to the United States 2009, came to join my family. I'm a husband of one wife. I have 4 children, 4 girls. By the grace of God, they're all doing well. So I started, by the grace of God, Jordan Corporation in 2013. And thank God we're about 12 years now. We're going to be 12 years in November 2025. So we are a company of about approximately 40 people right now and still growing. We're based here in New York, Long Island, to be precise. We work, I'm an engineer, and we do special inspections and materials testing all across New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, that's just a brief about me. I'm a Christian. I belong to Christ Life Ministries as a minister there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer. Then can we meet Mr. Sidiki, please?
Mr. Takpe, right?
Yes.
Did I get your name right? Mr.
Yes.
Takpe?
Yes.
Right, okay. First of all, thank you for the opportunity. I want to extend my thanks and appreciation to the Peter Abigail Foundation for having us here today. And again, my name is Sidiki Donzo. Currently, I'm the chairperson of the African Advisory Council of the Bronxboro President Office. My background is in finance and financial engineer, and I own a couple of businesses. And my goal is to have the breakthrough within the African mindset making us believe that anything somebody else can do, we can do it, and nobody is better than us. So I have settled those things in order to move forward, to set all those demarcations between us. And also, I'm planning on probably on my way to go to law school. Probably already in there, but trying to make sure that, we face some of the situation that we have now. It should be approached by Africans and African themselves. So moving forward, I will give more about my search. If any question in the bottom line, I'll be able to tackle that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We don't have our one of our speakers join us yet. She's going to be joining us in a couple of minutes. But can we just go to Pastor Oloshunde? Can you please introduce yourself to the house? Pastor Oloshunde.
Okay.
I was speaking
on mute.
Oh, okay, good.
Yes.
Thank you.
So good morning or good afternoon, depending on which time zone you're dialing in from. My name is Wale Oloshunde, and I want to say a big thank you to Peter Abigail Foundation, Pastor Wale Owade, for giving me the privilege to be a part of this event today. And I'm looking forward to a wonderful time. By way of introduction, I am the CEO of Poima Logistics LLC. It's a company that I started a year ago, so I'm new in this entrepreneurship. So Brother Ademoku, I have a lot to learn from you. You've been at this for a while. Prior to starting this business, I was in the corporate world. I worked for JP Morgan Chase for 24 years, holding many different roles, last of which was being VP of financial analysis for our auto finance business at JP Morgan Chase. So I started this business a year ago. It's an Amazon delivery service business. I have about 90 employees right now. That should go over 100 by the end of the year. It's been a great experience. I also hold a real estate portfolio. I'm married to one woman, just like Brother Adepoku said. My wife is a physician. We live in Texas. We are blessed with two amazing boys. Tishayi is our older one. He's in medical school right now. And Tommy is a senior in high school. God has been good to us. We serve the Lord. We love the Lord. And we love to be a blessing to people. And we love to see our fellow, people of African descent just thrive and just do well. So in any way that we can contribute and be a part of speaking, of helping, we're always excited to make ourselves available. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yes. So without further ado, we'll just go straight into our discussion this afternoon. The discussion is broken into 4 parts. We have immigrant entrepreneurship. We have cultural influence and integration, then policy and economic impact. And the 4th one is collaboration and community building. I'm very sure that by the time we go through these 4 sections, we'll have been able to get the real juice of what we want to share with ourselves this afternoon. So the first question that I want to throw to the house, to our panelists, is what did you in setting up your business? Because it's important for those who are here who have interest in doing this to know, have some ideas about what to do. What are the challenges faced in starting and scaling businesses in America? Let's first start with starting business.
Oh, okay. So are you gonna call
Yes.
people?
Yes. I just want it to be between the 3 of you. I want it to have that dynamic that if you want to jump in, you can take it on.
Okay. So I'll start. Thank you so very much, and I want to welcome everybody once again. Thank you, Peter Abigail Foundation. Thank you, Pastor Wade, for this beautiful platform. I believe we need to do this more often, and I believe this is what most of us needs. I've spoken in a couple of fora, and I've been in this business, like I said, my own personal business for 12 years right now. So to answer the question straight, what you need to have will depend largely on where you want to, what type of business you want to do, and what you want to get into. But one thing that is common, that I would believe is common, is the fact that you must be a master of what you want to do. In other words, have a very good understanding of the business you want to get into. That is one of the challenges of people that I know that went into the same business that I am at, because all my discussions today is going to be centered around what I know. Because I am an engineer. I set up a business that does special inspections and materials testing in New York. I have other bunch of certifications, but I specify mainly on just this one. I have about 7 licenses that I can open different businesses. 7 of them: asbestos, lead, special inspection, material testing, design, and so on and so forth. However, I dropped all 5 and I concentrated only on 2. I say that just to say that you need to get yourself well equipped. That's number one. Doesn't matter what kind of business you're getting into. Get yourself well equipped, understand the rudiment of the business before you get into it. Of course, I know the challenges that everybody faces is, the fear of the unknown. How do I start? What am I going to be eating and stuff like that? I think those ones should be the second part of the deal. The first part of the deal should be, am I well prepared in terms of the fundamentals of what I'm getting into? I was an engineer back home. I got registered again, like I said, in 2000 year 2000 in Nigeria. Came to this country 2009 already, as an engineer. However, I had to drop that idea at MMA when I was coming here, because I knew I would have to see their certifications and licenses here before I can even practice. Of course, there were a lot of things that I did not know at that time that I now know.
Okay.
So getting into here, I had to get into all the certifications and the licenses that I needed to do the kind of business that I wanted to get into. So I would say that's the first thing. And that's, what I've seen to be the challenges that a lot of people have had, people that I've related with. Understanding the business, getting the certifications and the licenses required to get into it.
All right. Thank you. Pastor Wale.
So let me just add a few things to what Brother Ademoku has said. I like I said, I started this business a year ago, but I've been doing real estate for a lot longer. One of the things that I faced, and I know a lot of people face, is a lot of people have the desire and the dream to start a business. But then the question is, what business? What do I go into? And that's where a lot of people get stuck for a long period. And there's no perfect way to answer for anybody the what that you should go into. I think a good starting point is start with what you know. Start with where you have a good understanding, a good knowledge. But also don't stop there. One of the things that helped me is the conversations and the relationship that I have with people who actually brought me into the knowledge of the business that I'm doing right now. So you learn a lot, of course, by attending programs like this, by talking to people. Back in New York, we always talk about business, right? And so for me, the natural progression was to start real estate, because everybody knew real estate and I knew, a lot about real estate. So start from what you know, but open up your mind to what's available out there. Look for people that are doing businesses and learn from them. So that's the starting point for me. Then the next thing is, if you are still employed by somebody, make sure you are the best at what you're doing and be disciplined both in learning on that job, in executing whatever your responsibilities are, and also in putting yourself in an okay financial position. Because when you're going to start a business, a lot of businesses require either some level of money or maybe your credit. So even if you don't have a lot of money, do you have good credit? So those are some things that pose a lot of challenges for people in starting a business. And if you've not put yourself in a place where you can pay your bills, you can pay your rent, you can pay your mortgage when you start your business, then the inertia of starting will keep you from starting. Because that fear will paralyze you and you won't be able to take the step. So there's a lot of obstacles that you're going to face along the way. And that is, you can never pray those things away. They're going to happen. You prepare yourself before you start, but when you start, you face some things that will make you want to run away and go back. But the thing that will keep you going is the why behind your wanting to start a business. The purpose, the reason why you want to start that business will help you to learn, to grow, and to develop and to overcome those obstacles that will come along the way in starting. So I'll stop there.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, I think we have Sister Fatimata Kamara with us now. Can you please unmute yourself? And let's meet you, please.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on this lecture today. I'm very, very excited and, very honored to feel like you see me as someone who can give advice. So I'm very excited to be able to share my insights. My name is Fatimata Kamara. I'm originally from Guinea and Sierra Leone. I was born in Guinea, but I've lived in New York ever since. I'm currently a law student as well as working at a law firm, and I have a nonprofit organization that is here to support Bronx creatives within the Bronx. So when I say creatives, it's people who are interested in modeling, photography, styling, and different creative ventures as such. And I didn't hear the question necessarily, but I think I understand the gist. So I wanted to
we were just talking about the challenges faced in starting and scaling businesses. So
yes. So I think the advice that I can give is 3 parts. Is 1, do your research. I think that's what everybody has basically been saying. You need to do your research before you start something. Don't just start something like, oh, I have an idea and I'm just going to do it. You have to look at the market, look at what are the documents required, what are the legal documents to make sure you don't get in trouble at the end. And so just really do your research. Even if you're using AI to assist you, it is 2025, AI is here. So it's better to find ways to help it, to, how to use it rather than to be against it. I think also understand that things are not going to work out the exact timing. So give yourself patience and grace. If you said February, this has to happen, then March, this has to happen, and it doesn't happen like that. And then you kind of get discouraged. Just know anything you're planning, add at least 6 months, buffer period to whatever it is that you're doing. Oh, I will do this by February. It may actually be March or April. Just sometimes it's not due to you. Sometimes it's due to other people because you're working with other people. And, things don't always work out exactly. Or you find out as you're doing the steps that, oh, there was something else that you actually had to do or you were supposed to do. So you end up learning in the process as much as you've already done your research to try to learn as much. And yeah, I think those would be the 2 most solid advices that I can give is doing your research, but also being patient and knowing that you're going to learn a lot more. And even with your research, there's not everything you're going to know about it. Sorry. And the last thing, I guess the 3rd part now I remember is, they say closed mouths don't get fed. You have to advocate. Every single place that you go, you have to pitch yourself and pitch your idea. You have to put yourself out there. You cannot expect somebody else to do the work for you. And then you're just kind of there to collect the accolades or whatever it may be. You have to really be your own CEO, your own project manager, your own cheerleader, your own coach. In whatever spaces and rooms that you go to, you have to make sure you advocate for yourself. And you're doing your research and seeking these opportunities. There's sometimes I try to give somebody an opportunity and I'm contacting somebody and the person says, Fatmata, if you have to contact me for this person, I don't want the person, because I want that person to come to me when they need something, not for them to have to use a third-party person to have to get what they want. So make sure you are advocating for yourself in any room that you go to. And you never know who people are, so treat them with kindness regardless of who you think they may be. You never know who they really are or who they're connected to.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Fatimata. Yes, and the next question, what we want to look into is the issue of capital. What do you have to say about access to capital? Because if you want to start a business, what role does that play in that mix? So I think I'm going to start with Mr. Siddiqui now.
Thank you. I thought you forgot about me. That's why.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Thank you, Mr. Takpe. Just before I talk about the issue of capital, let me just say this before then. For our listener, because that is where we have these conversations.
Yes.
People going to listen to us out there. I think one of the most important things we have to take into consideration is not taking yourself seriously. You know, anything you think you're good at, there's somebody out there that know it better than you. So that comes back to what everyone has said earlier. You know, your network is your net worth. You know, be the one to listen more than you talk. Listen to people. Even if you're right, keep it and go and play with it when you go home. It's very important. Talk less, take information very seriously. And anyway you take that information, sit down and go through it. It's very important when it comes to supplement.
Sorry. Please, can we all mute? Yes, thank you.
Yeah, sorry. So for me, as special business owner, somebody who's been in the business over 10 years, and these are things I have learned. And I believe that Africans sometimes will look down to ourselves, make us believe that if a white person can do it, or if so person can do it, we can do it. We are smart enough to do it. Every sectors, financial sectors, every business that you go to, there's an African that work in those sectors. There's an Africans that don't one of the main job in those sectors. So meaning that we are qualified, smart enough to be in this position. So we shouldn't lower ourselves down. So that comes to the issue of capital. How can we work?
Yes.
And the question were how to develop capital, right? For business and so forth.
How do we access it?
So one thing that I also want to lay out there, there's a lot of opportunity out here. There's a lot of grain and loan and so forth that you can get out there. And the only thing that we'll have to do is to step out of our baseline to go for those opportunities. For instance, I know of somebody because I always want to know somebody as a scenario to make my point. And this guy, originally I'm from Liberia. This guy came from Liberia and he was driving a taxi. So what the guy did is that within a year time, he challenged himself. He joined what we call in our African setting, SUSU. And within the matter of 1 year, the guy was able to save up to $60,000 to $70,000. So when he did on a Yankee Stadium, the only African store that was there belonged to this guy. This guy went and got this store. And when he got that store, and I'm telling you today, he has more than 15 stores in New York. He got more than 15 stores in New York today. And this guy started 2010. Up to today's day, he has more than 15 stores. 149 and Morris Avenue, the nonsense store that's right in the corner, belong to this guy. He has worked tirelessly. So accessing capital is important, but you have to create your own capital. Just know that nobody coming to save you. That's just the reality of life. Nobody coming to save you. If you put it in your mind that you have to get a loan or grant in order to start anything, I think you'll be stuck for a little bit. But what can you do as an individual to create your own capital in order to start your own business? Then anything coming after that will be something that will help you to grow, but not to stay to where you are. That is the United States. We all understand this country. Anything you want, you can get it. But the most important thing about developing capital or developing anything that you got to do, you have to come for yourself. You got to work on yourself before you get out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Minister Engineer Ademoku, do you want to chip in?
Yes, sir. So thank you, Mr. Siddiqui. So talking about starting capital, that's actually what every year when we're doing a recertification and license renewal, there's always a place there where they ask you for your starting capital. How did you start your capital? How did you start your business? How did you get the money to start your business? And I've seen, different places, different forums where I've been to. People have asked me all the time, how did you start your business? How did you get money to start this business? And I've had, white people ask me this question too. And sometimes you see their body language, the question is, so weird, but I still have to answer the question anyway. So, asking me, how did you start this business? And I tell them all the technicalities. I said, how do you have the money to start it? So, just like Mr. Siddiqui said, you have to have that understanding that nobody knows you yet. You are the only one that knows yourself. You're the convener of your dream, and you have to write it down, just like the book of Habakkuk says. Make it plain, run with it, do everything you can to make it work. So when they ask me how did I start this business in terms of funds, I tell them, well, I started this business in my basement, and I started as small as I could. At that time, I was still working with another agency. Came to this country and I worked for one agency for 4 years and the other agency for 1 year and 11 months, almost two years, before I finally got out. So the last 1 year and 11 months, I already had my business set up in my basement and starting to make sure that I do the work in a safe manner and in a manner that would not cause a conflict of interest between my business and the job that I was on as an employee. So that started, and I began to save my money, get the money into an account. I pay my taxes as a W-2 person, and a W-2 employee. I get my cash. I get the check, and I pay the check to my business account. And at the end of the year, I pay another tax on that taxed fund. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but I had a vision and I know where I was going. I wanted to prove that I had done some businesses on my account, on the business's account. So at the end of the year, I filed my personal taxes. I filed the business taxes as well. By the way, business taxes I filed, I'm an S Corp. So filing the business taxes will mean file the business taxes, get a K1 to your personal taxes, and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of things that goes into that. To answer these and to, to answer in line with what Mr. Siddiqui said, you have to have the plan yourself to, get your money. Right now, I can go into any bank now and say, here, I need $500,000 at so percent of loan. If they have it, they give it to me. But at that time, the money was not there. So buying my computer, I was using my laptop. I had to buy a small printer. My wife had one which was like a rickety kind of one. I had to buy another one. Buy my the consumables that I use in the office. Hire somebody to be working there just to be sending some emails. So there are a lot of things that goes on in the background as far as putting those money together, just buying the things little by little. And at a point when we're able to get up, we got up. Now, here is why I mentioned at the point where we do all our renewals. When we do this renewal, they ask me, how much did you have to start this business? I tell them I don't have money. I told them there was no specific amount of money. They were thinking, they were expecting me to say, oh, that was $100,000 that I brought from so place or $50,000 that I saved. But I was none. I didn't have this money cash in my hand to save at that time. I don't know if this speaks to anybody, but I believe once you have the desire and your mind is there and you are planning it on daily basis, when I get back my salary and I pay it to the company's account, I use that money to buy something. And that was how we started, little by little, little by little, little by little, and we started going. So this is how I believe we can, from people that come from the kind of background that I came from and come to this country without financial strength, I believe that's how to start. Because the day you quit your job is the day you start paying salary. That's what I tell everybody. right? The day you quit your job, you start paying salary. That's it. So that, that's very important for us to understand.
All right.
So get that background first. Do it at that low level first, and be sure that now you have stood your ground before you can move forward. Thank you.
So if I may just,
please go ahead.
So from a banking background, right? Of course, everybody feels banks should be able to give you loans. Big banks, they don't care about you. They don't know who you are. They're not going to do any business with you because you don't have any track record. However, like I said before, take care of your personal credit. That may be a good source of starting capital for you as well. When you have good credit, you may be able to start raising some funds that way. But also, depending on where you live, right, there are small banks in a lot of places that are looking for businesses, that are looking for people to invest in, that don't have all the hurdles that a Chase Bank or Wells Fargo and all those big banks have. So don't limit yourself. And this is in addition to everything that everybody has said. Go out there, believe in your vision, write stuff down, get all the licenses and certifications and registrations that you need. Go out there and talk to people. You'd be surprised that when people feel that that what you're saying, you might be able to tap into some opportunities that are not necessarily accessible, when you're talking to big banks. So talk, don't be quiet, speak to people, learn, but so get out there. Just don't sit inside. Money is not going to just fall on your laps.
All right. Thank you. Can you just jump in, Miss Fatamata? And you can look into, in addition to that, can you please tell us a little bit about the legal hurdles that people might face at the beginning? And how to overcome them?
Yes. I think for my own business, because it's a nonprofit, it's a little bit different. So there's a lot of loans. We don't usually qualify for loans because most of them will say you have to have like an LC or some other for-profit business. But I get to what I'm saying about research. There's so many good grants and things that are providing.
I think we've lost her. I think where she is, there's the reception is poor there. Yes. So basically, in terms of scaling these businesses, I think Mr. Siddiqui touched on it, and of course, Engineer Ademoku. But when should an entrepreneur be dreaming of something big? Is it, I don't know which other way to explain, but is it all right to, at the beginning, be thinking big or look at scaling? How do you get to scale the business to a point where it becomes the dream that you actually had at the beginning? Briefly, please. On for the three of you, maybe like 30 seconds or 1 minute, please.
Okay, so I'll start again, even though I just started my business not long ago, but I have good knowledge in this space as well. I think your dream should always be at the beginning, and it will always grow. So regardless of what you have and what you're able to do, please let your dream be big. Let it be big, because that's what's going to drive what you're able to put in to get to where you need to get to. Scaling has to be done, strategically and with wisdom. Because if you scale too fast, you can crash and crumble. So don't worry about, don't try to climb a 25-story building in 1 second. Climb, keep that as your vision, keep that as your dream, but climb smartly, scale smart. Scale and make sure you're able to absorb what you're doing before you move to the next level.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Siddiqui.
Yeah, let me come a little bit. I think that's a great question. And one thing I can say to that is that never settle. My brother Ryder said, think bigger but don't implement everything you have in your basket once. For me, I own a business. 7 years ago, I'm certified as an NWBE. I'm able to get a contract on an environmental protection agency as an NWBE Business Career Services. So I hire people to do this career services. So I also have another contract that I can do with another agency to do similar thing. But because of the people I'm working with, I have some difficulty having them to do it at a certain time. And when I continue to do that, they're going to tarnish my reputation. So I have to stop that until I can get qualified people to apply for that job. So
Good.
you have to be careful who you have in your mate and people that you work with. If you're not careful, you will lose everything that you actually struggle to put together.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Engineer, we know you talked about starting from your basement, but is there anything else you want to add?
Well, so just to add to that too, scaling is important. It's very good. You have the vision, that's great, but we have to be careful how we scale. You might, it's not everything that glitters that's gold. We have to be extremely careful, especially people in our community. We have to be careful how we scale. I had some opportunities. I believe I shared one of them with Uncle Tokwe yesterday. I had some opportunities of things that can basically like get you up, just like Pastor Loshude said, make you get up that 25 stories in 20 seconds. But I choose, right, by the virtue of my morals, I choose not to go that route. So we have to be careful, and these people will get you into it, and then they'll pull the trigger behind you. So we have to be extremely careful. If time permit, I'll still, give us some stories, some experiences that I've had, specific experiences in such areas. Let's go.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, let's just quickly look into that's we have Fatimata back. Are you
Yes, I'm
ready to
so
go for it?
sorry.
All right.
Yes,
Good.
yes, I'm so sorry. I wanted to touch on capital really quickly before moving on to scaling is when it comes to capital, because my business is a nonprofit, it's a little bit different. So we don't necessarily qualify for a lot of loans, but I still would like to echo what the other guy had said about, your credit score and all of those things. They really play a factor because those are the things that are important in America. And it's very important to get educated about those things. I'll send a link in the chat that is a free like personal finance and financial literacy course through Khan Academy. And it goes really well into detail about even what is a 401k, what does your paycheck mean when you see all of these numbers, and really to just educate yourself. But also when it comes to the legal challenges, again, there's a lot of resources. So for example, all my legal documents for my nonprofit was done for free through an organization. I can also share that organization as well. Right. Just by doing research. If you're in New York, they have a business person in every single New York public library that can assist you with your business. There's also a library on 42nd Street called the Thomas Yusuf Library. And it's a whole floor dedicated as a business center. And whether it's researching for grants or whatever it may be, they have people there who are professionals who can assist you and help you with your, like, whatever you may not understand. So it goes back to research. The same way how we can know all the gist and all the information for our favorite celebrities or musicians, you need to put in that same dedication of research into whatever business that you are trying to do and, you're trying to excel in. And the question of scaling, can you repeat it? Sorry, the connection dropped.
Yes, we're just looking at how, how do you scale a business? For instance, your nonprofit, what's your vision for it ultimately? Are you there now, or you are scaling it, or that's just what we're looking at? How people start small, like an example, Engineer Demokun started in his basement, but today is in his own space, So how should people approach scaling?
I think when it comes to scaling, sometimes you may only be thinking small, and God can give you the tools and the willpower to even take your idea to become greater than maybe your original perception. I think also, with all the ideas you have, just know there will be more work. So any idea that you have to add to create more, there will definitely be more work and more efforts to allow that to come true. And I think in terms of me, I'm starting right now as just a nonprofit who's doing a few events, But I hope that eventually we can have like a house in which people can rent out studios and different things, because my main thing is I was tired of always having to travel to Brooklyn and Queens when it comes to certain opportunities. And I wanted to make sure that, you know, these opportunities are present in the Bronx. So just know whatever, you know, the bigger the vision, the more the work, and it shouldn't, you know, keep you away from that if it's truly your passion and you're serving where you need. And sometimes you may not be thinking as far as you can go, and God can give you, you know, some tools that can take you further than, you know, the original idea that you had. But just start realistic though.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for that that section. We're going to the next one now, which is also very important if we must really prosper in this land. We are looking at cultural integration. You know, in terms of when we talk about migrant cultural influence and integration. So what do you have to say? Because the challenge is that some of these things, that some ideas that some of our people have, they may be too African centric. I don't think if I should say that like that, but I'm thinking that, you know, in terms of the environment we have found ourselves, what is your advice? The business you've done so far, are you doing businesses only within our community, or how do we integrate it into the larger community where we can have people from different stripes and color come and patronize what we have to offer? Can we start with you, Pastor Oloshunde?
So I believe every business is unique, you know, and there's no one size fits all. There might be businesses that only cater to our people, and we actually have the number that if you're able to capture, it's 20%, even just of American immigrant, you'll be in a really good place. So you have to look at your unique business, right? To determine what your audience is. But I agree with you, even when you're doing a business that may be African centric, there's also opportunity for a lot of people to learn and get in the culture. Like I have friends that are in the food business, African food or African stuff. You'd be surprised how non-Africans are buying into this space, are interested, you know, in getting into African foods or African culture. And part of that is because of what they see on social media, you know. But when those kind of people start to patronize you and embrace your business, you know, then you have to be able to like grow your mindset that, hey, I'm not just dealing with people that speak my language and understand what I'm doing. I need to be able to present my business in a way that caters to those people as well, speak their language and understand their own level of customer service expectation will be way higher than maybe what your own, you know, my people will expect. But just understand your unique business, what your audience is, who your target audience is, but also don't limit yourself when there are opportunities to expand to new markets. You know, just make sure you learn and you understand what the new market is looking for, so you don't get burned.
All right, please, Mr. Siddiqui, you jump in on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna omit myself a little bit. Yeah. Again, thank you for that. I think it's very important that you set up a business and have a target market. But with that, now look at the jollof rice. A couple of years ago, jollof was just about Africa, right? But nowadays now, you'll find in entire America talking about jollof rice. In our group chat, probably if you're African, you find white people, black people, everybody talking about the jollof rice, argument, all of those things. So meaning that we have exceeded from the African point of view to another point of view. So whatsoever business you're doing, don't limit yourself. Just know that anything is possible, anything can happen. So just place yourself in that position that when that time comes, how ready are you going to be? Put yourself in that position that once that time reaches, how can you take yourself from that point to the next point? Thank you.
Yes, sorry, before I go to Engineer Ademokun, we have one of our participants online, Ms. Tayo Ogumola. She wants to say something, I guess.
Good afternoon, and thanks for this meeting. So, talking in the line of food, that's why I quickly want to ask my question. So, about scaling, I'm into food business. So, about scaling, right now, I do it from home, and I am not on any social platform. And this is simply because take Miss Grant is online. I took some courses with her and I got some information. And she also introduced me to some other people that I got to know a few things. But the question is, my client base right now, my clientele right now, 99% of them comes back. There's no one that comes that doesn't come back. The ones that are not coming back are probably people out of state and because of shipping cost. So I'm thinking of scaling at the moment, and I don't want to start a restaurant. So what I believe will fit me right now is going through a commercial kitchen so that I can be out. But I've seen a lot of people that are in business before me, and they're saying that, that's a waste of money. Just continue. I know people that has been doing for 20 years from home and all that. So, and I do know that by law, you're not supposed to do business from home. And it's something that I want to do for a long time. So I don't want to shoot myself in the foot before I even get big. So how would you advise someone like me to scale?
Okay, I'm going to allow us to respond to this question quickly, but every other question, please, is that we'll take that later. There's a segment for that. Any of us, is there any of our panelists who wants to respond to her quickly?
Can I ask the question?
Yes, please. Yes.
Let me ask the question from Sister Tayo so that just to make the question clear, I believe I heard her say by law you are not supposed to do business from home. Is that what I heard you say?
When you're selling food, only pastry you can do from home. When you're doing food and you're selling commercially, for friends and family, under 10,000 is allowed. But when you're doing commercially, you're not supposed to be cooking from your own home.
Oh, okay. So, that makes sense now because I'm trying to understand when you say you can do business from home. Okay, so
and then you can jump into and after responding to her, you can go into what we're talking about, integration.
Oh, okay. So I think scaling at this point, I think you have checked the boxes, in my opinion. The boxes of is my food fine? Yes. Are my clients coming back? Absolutely yes. As a matter of fact, that's what people are praying for. Once you have your clients coming back, that means you're doing well. And at that point, if you're not able to meet up with the responsibility, with the demand, that's a very good thing. And that's the point where you need to basically get out and get all out, in my opinion. Well, tread cautiously, but get all out. There's no, I don't know what the challenges are with you. Maybe it's getting the money to set up a kitchen or joining somebody that, I don't know what exactly the problem will be at this point, because the question I would have asked you is, are people coming back? Are you getting more demand? If you say yes to that question, the next thing will be, where's the money to start the business? Where's the money to rent the space? Where's the money to start buying the equipment? Where's the money to start doing this? I believe that should be the next question, in my opinion. So, and
thank you.
So if I may go to the scaling thing, right?
No, the integration, cultural, like if your business, who are you catering to? Are you locking yourself just into the familiar terrain, or you are opening yourself up to really get into the system itself,
Well, for me, my 98% of my clients are not African, basically. And so that means it's not, my business is not race based at all. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
You have your business, you have your property to build, you go to the Department of Building. That's the only place to go to get your permit. You're going to get the permit. You need somebody to sign on and sign off on your project. I'm there for you to do it. That's it. Whether you are white, black, green, doesn't matter. So I'm not really in that space where race plays a role. The only other area that I would believe, so right now I have about 45, no, I would say like 55% white compared to 45% black or color. Let me call it color now in my staff strength. So in terms of getting staff though, of course, the people that gravitate towards you are definitely the people that, from your community. So I do have some people that are, in terms of my inspectors, have, quite a good number of them that are black people, but it's really not a big deal. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you come, you have the certification, you have the license, they know how I hire you. That's it. So I'm really not affected by race in my business.
Very good. So let's just look into the other thing when Sister Tayo was talking, she was talking about the food. One thing that I've come to understand, I don't know, this is just going off a little bit, but I would like one or two of our panelists to respond to this. When you come into an environment like this, you see where you have restaurants where people outside of the food that they eat, where the background is from, they come and they enjoy the food. Like let's say an Italian restaurant now in the middle of somewhere, and then you have people coming from everywhere, just as most of us must have gone to other kinds of restaurants before that are not necessarily cooking the food that we are used to or we were raised with. So what do you have to say to people who are in that space? How do we really deliberately go into areas to sell ourselves, or what are the tricks that can be played to, are we going to start with condiments, or are we going to, just like Mr. Siddiqui talked about the jollof rice thing, like people now they know about jollof rice. How do you advise people in that space to be able to access more? Yes.
No, man.
Please, let's just make it short, please. 30 seconds, 1 minute. Thank you.
Okay. That is Siddiqui.
Yes.
Let me give a quick advice to our sister. Understand she has a lot of passion for what she's doing, and I understand that a lot of people are actually coming by, and that make it seem to us that what she's doing is really good.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, we all will have to visit our kitchen to taste our food and see how it really goes. So I think the most important thing, especially we as Africans, and we limiting ourselves to just our community in order to prove our mind, is that every time we create a business, sometimes we overthink about ourselves and us only. And one thing that I have realized, being in this country, being a business owner, is, stepping out of my line. What am I trying to say? I'm saying that is that when you open a business and you know that the business is growing, have people that have similar vision involved into your business. When you get people involved and you guys set up the business will grow faster, the business will sell quicker, the business will be in a positions where more people will actually buy your food, and you will make more capital gain, and you will more profit gain and out of that. So my advice to her, please step outside of your comfortable zone. Look for people that love what you're doing, that have the same mindset, and you join together to make the business a success. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Fatimata, are you still with us? Fatimata?
Yes, sorry, I'm still with you. Yes.
All right. Yes. What do you have to say to this?
I think the advice I would give to the young lady who posed the question, I think is a good problem to have, that you want to expand, and you're looking for which ways to better expand in that sense. I would say, I don't mean to sound redundant, but maybe doing your research again. like looking at other people who have been in this shoe. You know, you're not the first person to have a food business that's growing and everything like that. So look to see maybe what other people have states you are in. But I think in New York, they're trying to pose a new law that you can use up to 50% of your house for like a business or something like that. So just try to, like, you know, do your research or reach out to some people. If you see like a prominent chef that maybe that once in, you know, when you got to this position, when you got to this crossroad, how did you manage it? What did you do exactly to be able to go from point A to point B? You know, definitely reach out to people, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or whichever it is. Just ask for, can I get, you know, 20 minutes of your time just to ask you a few questions? And people are usually very open to supporting and helping other people.
All right. Thank you. Pastor Loshunde, want to say something?
I don't have anything else to add.
All right.
I think everybody addressed it well.
Addressed it. Okay. Thank you. Now we'll just take one more to discuss, one more point of discussion, and then we'll go into question and answer session. So I know a lot of people have a lot of questions to ask. In terms of the condition we are in right now, what do you think should be done in terms of immigration policies? How does the immigration policy of the nation, how does it affect your business? You know, or what do you think could be done to make it easier for you as entrepreneurs?
Oh, well,
I can start with you.
Okay, I'll start on that. So, in a way, this is a little bit affecting me. That's the policy of, especially the very fresh one of the H-1B people. In a way, it's affecting my business because we are, for the past 4 years, we've been doing H-1B for people, bringing people of color to the United States to work with us as a business. And, you know, it helps us in a way because there are tons of, positions that we have around. And I've realized that I've been training in this country for years. I've trained tons of people. But, you know, after you train people, once they get comfortable, they're gone. You know, you train them, once you get comfortable, they're gone. So it's becoming a routine. And we see that opportunity of bringing people again from different part of the world through H-1B, bringing them in here to work for you. At least we have them for the first 3 years, and then maybe another 3 years before you find their green card for them. Of course, under very, very, very strict scrutiny and conditions of services, which is fine with me. And apart from that, the fact that it's helping somebody again makes it a good thing for me as far as I'm concerned. However, this $100,000 policy that you have to pay for per employer per year is almost like don't do it anymore. That's number one, the H-1B. The second one is, I don't know if anybody knows, I've been yelling and crying and about minorities, us getting into this minority thing. I've been talking about it all as long as I know, since I came to this country. But now, I don't know if anybody knows, September 3rd is the last day for DBE. That's the Advantage Business Enterprise. That's a level that we got to. It took us like 3 to 5 years to get DBE. Now the DBE has been stripped off just like that because, so minority MBE is for state and city, while DBE is for federally funded projects. So we have some federally funded projects that we get into that space as a result of the percentage requirement for that prime contract. But now that's been stripped off completely away. So that's another aspect that the immigration issue is affecting me. The last one will be that we need more people, we need more staff, we need people to get in. It used to be like 7, 8, 10 years ago. There are people that are willing to do this job. But now, even when we submit bids now, and people that are here that know about my business know that when we submit bids now, people just recycle inspectors now. You see people here and they're just recycling. You look at your paper, you have an inspector, and it's on another person's, it's on another person's submissions, another person's submission. So there are just a lot of things that, lack of people, lack of the right people to do this, to do our business. That's the area where I'm being affected in a way. But
all right, thank you, Pastor Oloshunde.
So my specific business actually isn't being affected by the immigration environment we're in. My business is in Southern America. It's not a lot. It's not, my particular business is not immigrant centric. I think maybe 90% of my employees are, African Americans born here, and maybe the next 10% are whites. So for each person, I think you just have to look at your individual space and what impact the immigration laws might have on your business, and see how to mitigate the impact. But like we said, we should always also be open to bringing other people in that are not people that look like us, because that also affects how we're able to scale in our business and the different perspectives that they also bring than what fellow African immigrants might bring.
And also, all right, thank you, Mr. Siddiqui.
Yeah, thank you again. I think one thing I have experienced is that a lot of Africans, especially our brothers and sisters, in this place, has a lot of difficulty when it comes to working for us with the working permit issue and one country renewing all of those things. I think the situation has placed more fears into our people than any other time. So I always use my business as a scenario. I got a driver that doing my carrier service that his I think working permit has expired, but the license has not expired yet. But due to the fact that immigration here, asylum case is pending, they have not given a green light for renewal and so forth. He's afraid to actually do my work right now. So I have to train somebody else, probably wake up in the morning, go with that person to do my delivery before I actually leave my house to go to work, meaning that to put them through all the processes. So, and not just from my end, being a leader of the African Advisory Council as well for the Brownsboro President Office, even you're having an event right now in a public space, a lot of people are afraid to come there because they feel like ICE might probably be there to have them arrested because they don't have a legal papers to be around there. So it has placed some sort of fears into our people that we, as a community member, as a leader, that is not even under our jurisdiction to actually help them in any way. So that is the point that I have right now. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Fatamata?
I would say it hasn't really affected my business, but maybe more so my mentality. So for one, it's reaffirmed me in wanting to make sure my events are always either free or affordable, because I know sometimes when people have just come here, money, and even people who have been here for a long time, money is always a barrier for a lot of things, and it always feels as if you cannot afford to get basic things that are even nice. So something that I always try to make sure is that things are affordable, so that regardless of your financial status, you're still able to, receive the basic necessities that you would have wished to have. And I would also just say, just continuing to share resources with people. So if you see information about getting IDs or whatever it is that, people can benefit from, it doesn't take anything away from you to give to somebody else. So in any way that you can, give out information to help them, because, everybody has a different immigration story, but maybe once upon a time that was you. So just make sure that you're providing information and resources and support wherever you can.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I have one question that I'll still throw to the House, but I want us to go straight to the feedback now and questions from our participants, those who have joined us for this roundtable today. So please, if you have any question or any comment, you can just raise your hand and I would get you in there. All right. So anybody with questions or comments? Based on all our discussions so far. Do you have any questions or any comments for what we have discussed? Yes.
Let's go to the chat box. There are some comments there.
Oh, okay.
And,
yes.
I want people to expatiate more on what they said. We have Pastor what's the Fagwe name? Miss Natalia Williams Grant. They made some good comments. We'd like them to expatiate on it. Thanks.
Yes, please. So we have one here from Miss Mulika Tamao. Do you want to ask, or can read it out for you? Well, she says, good information. Thank you all. My passion is children's services as non-profit organization. So I think Ms. Fatimata can briefly. So what is the question you have, please? Can you ask? Ms. Amao.
Yeah, how can I start?
The question is how
All right.
we can
How can you start?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Any advice for her? Ms. Fatimata? Or any of our panelists?
Yes, so sorry. So I'm gonna put something in the group chat now. It's called a SCORE mentor, specifically, I believe, for nonprofits. So this is something that I use. It's a free resource that basically you will say what your business is about, and they will actually give you a free mentor to advise you as you're going through the process. So I'm not necessarily too well versed in childcare, but if you fill out this form, somebody will be able to, better guide you. You can schedule weekly meetings, bi-weekly, whatever is your preference, and you explain what's your business idea to them, and they can talk you through the different, methods about it. And it's completely virtual. So whether you live in New York or another state, I think you can still use it. So I'm going to start dropping some of those resources that I was talking about now into the group chat.
Thank you.
And another question, if
yes,
I can just drop this too. In terms of how to start, there's somebody in the house right now, and I believe she dropped a comment here in the comment box. Her name is Natalie William. That's the lady that actually helped me out in setting up my business when I first started on the MBE platform. She's a good resource if you want to start any business and you don't know where to start, how to start in terms of the paperwork and the legal considerations. She is always available for our community. She has given such lectures here before. I don't know if she wants to say something so that people would know to contact her too.
Yes.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Olu. I appreciate that. I've been listening in and very interesting. I hope you can hear me. But yes, there are resources that are actually on the cusp of launching my own consulting company, and I'll be able to work with small business owners. So SCORE is, yes, a viable option, but there are additional information. For example, the process of starting a nonprofit is, though it might be similar, but there are specific regulations that govern a nonprofit. And so there are organizations here in New York City that will guide individuals from legal to funding, guiding you in identifying grants and also to plan your nonprofit. So I will, or Mr. Olu, if you could put in my contact information in the chat, I will be able to provide those resources. So I really appreciate the conversation today, and we do need to have these more frequently because there are a lot of small businesses, great ideas, but there's a lot of misinformation in the market, and unfortunately, our people are the ones that are very quick to pay to resources that are not really beneficial to them in the long run. So I'm very happy that we have trusted resources here and personnel that can share in this forum.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And please, Engineer Luke, will you please help us with the contact, as she said?
Pastor Wadi, can you post, please?
Okay.
You have our contact.
All right.
Yes, I will do that right away.
All right. Thank you. Yes.
Thank
Thank you very much, man.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. My pleasure.
Yeah. On the comments, we also have one from Pastor Bosede Fagbemi. She asks, shouldn't every business have a 10-year business plan to evaluate if things are going in the right direction, and also have an expansion plan included? Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Pastor Bosede Fagbemi. Thank you for the opportunity. That was just it wasn't really a question, but a suggestion that if anyone is in a business, there should, just a suggestion that there should be at least a 5 to 10 year plan where you would have the space and the time to reassess whatever you're doing to see if your goals are being met or if you need to change your focus or your goals, so that as the business progresses, you would be able to decide if you are actually achieving what you set out to achieve or not. So those are just suggestions.
Comments and suggestions. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Anybody else with comments and suggestions or questions for our panelists today? Well, looking at the chat now, I see that Pastor Wale Oloshunde responded also to, he made comments. Do you want to share that with us, or there are people to? I think you were commenting on what.
Yeah, so I acknowledge what Pastor Bosede said about 5-10 year plan. Of course, being in JP Morgan Chase for several years, it's kind of hard. When you make plans 1, 2, 3 years, you are more accurate. The further out you get, it gets more fuzzy. It's good to have a dream and a plan, but every organization must be nimble, must look to be nimble, because things are changing so fast that what you thought was okay 2 years ago, AI has changed everything. A lot of big corporations go out of business because they refuse to be nimble. They get stuck with what they've always done. So yeah, great to have plans, but we must be nimble and be learning every time and be able to pivot and adjust, to what the environment dictates today.
Thank you. Any more questions or comments? All right. Like I said, I told you I had one question that came to my mind as we were in the course of this discussion, and it is to ask our 4 panelists, because of all that you have achieved in the business and entrepreneurship space, what do you have to say in terms of fulfillment? Setting up these businesses in this climate, in this environment. What do you have to say? How fulfilling has it been for you? How much of that sense of accomplishment? Because we're talking about business across borders, right? So I don't want us to leave this discussion without really comparing some of the things we might have experienced before compared to this climate. I hope you get what I'm saying. Yeah. All right. Anybody? Can we start with Mr. Siddiqui? if you have anything to say regarding that.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I got the question right. When you say fulfillment, it means that how satisfied we are, or what
Yes.
have we done since we
Yeah.
started the business? That's what you try to say.
Yes, exactly. Like what, when you labor this hard to put something down. I was discussing with the engineer Lou yesterday or day before, and he was talking about even at the level that he is now, the challenges that are still ongoing, that he still has to keep pushing. So how do you see that in terms of fulfillment for you, what you've done so far?
I mean, like I said earlier, regardless, never settle, no matter what you're doing, just keep going. So I may I may not struggle to get a beginning capital, but I may struggle to set up a business in order for it to go the way in which I want it to be. I may not have some other challenges, but yet I got a bigger challenges because every time your business grow, there's a new fulfillment that you got to take into consideration. And every time you have to work with new people, that you got to hire new people, there's mind or understanding how you can confide or trust those people when it comes to certain things. So, every time business grow, I think it become more challenging in order to have it done. That's what I can say.
Amazing.
Right.
Ms. Fatamata, can you say something on that?
I think
Fulfillment so far?
yes, what I can add is I think there are always going to be challenges in anything you pursue, whether it's education, whether it's a new job, whether it's a business. But there's a certain level of satisfaction that you get to say that, this is something that I wanted to do and I'm doing it and I've done it. And so I feel like it satisfies that inner soul, that inner feeling of, you've achieved something that you've wanted to achieve. And I think even with all of the challenges and the hardships, at least you can say you did it. You don't want to be in this life, what if I did this, what if I did this? At least you can say you did it. Even if, you say you wanted to write a book. You may not be on New York Times best-selling authors, but you wrote the book and you did the thing that you wanted to do. You fulfilled that inner passion of yours. And so you can feel satisfied knowing that you did something for yourself and something that you wanted to do. So currently, I'm very satisfied with myself, even though I'm not where I want to be at all. But I'm happy to say that I did it, and I have something, and I kicked it off the ground, and I did it the correct way, like legally and everything like that. So it's just a very proud moment to say that, at least I did it, even if I'm not, Forbes 100 businesses, but at least I have a business.
All right. Thank you. Pastor Loshinde.
Great point, Fatamata, and I really love that. So like anything else in life, right? There's gonna be challenges. I started this particular business a year ago, and there've been challenges. But you know what? In starting anything, you have to ask yourself why you're doing what you're doing, right? You have to understand your why, because that's how you really assess yourself. Not everything is about money. Not everything is about how big your business is. So for me, I've asked myself the same question, because the business is stressful, the business is very demanding. I was working for somebody else, I could close shop and not having to think about work. Now you're a business owner, you're on call 24/7. You're constantly thinking about what you're doing. But one of the things that have given me the greatest satisfaction is since I started this business a year ago, like I said, I have about 90 employees right now. I've seen many of them that didn't have cars, they now have cars. Many of them that couldn't take their family on vacation, they've gone on vacation. Many of them that, didn't have homes. I've had some homeless guys. Now they have their apartments, now they're doing well. So those are some things that I look at and I'm like, wow,
Awesome.
look what the Lord has done. And that gives me great satisfaction. Of course, the money's there, money is good, but that more than the impact, the fact that I'm able to employ so many people and give them meaning and purpose, I mean, that brings me a lot more joy that is able to overpower the challenges and the hurdles that I face as a business. And you also must understand, when you're just starting out, Your challenges will be different than someone that's in 20 years in the business and their problem is whether they should go for a $100 million contract or, $200 million contract. Different problem, but problem nonetheless.
All
But
right.
whatever you're doing, know why you're doing it. Don't lose focus. Don't lose hope. Don't always look at what's not working. Look at what is working. Relish in the joy of what is working, and that will help you face what is not working.
All right. Thank you. Engineer, what do you have to say to that?
Yes, thank you so much. I believe Pastor Laji has said everything. But especially the last one that he mentioned about the fulfillment from the heart, which is, one of the reasons why I did what I'm doing what I'm doing right now. Fulfillment from your heart is critical for me. When I look at people that I am able, to the glory of God, to provide their salaries to, their paychecks to, that I sign the check every 2 weeks, and I see the joy in their faces, it just gives me joy. So my satisfaction is actually not measured by how much I have in my account. No. It's measured by when I look at these people that I bring to the glory of God from different parts of the world, and I bring them in here, and not only them being able to now feed themselves, but able to feed their family and feed their generations. People, being able to bring their family here and stuff like that. When I look at those things are my joy. If you as a business owner, if you're looking for your satisfaction in money, in time, in money, you will not likely find it, because there's always need for you to need more money. Definitely, you have 5 million, you need 10 million. You have 10 million, you need 20 million. The business will keep asking you for more money. I've been in this business for 12 years. I know exactly what I'm talking about. When I first started, somebody was asking me recently, I said, look, comparatively, I made more money in my account, comparatively, right? I had more money in my hand when I had 5 employees than I have 40 employees. Comparatively, obviously more money now, but in terms of what I can do with money that time, and the kind of headache now that I have, and the things that I have to invest this money into, calibration, accreditation, this and that, so there's as the more you go, like our people say, big head comes with big headache. So, but the satisfaction is not in the money you have from there. No. You can have money. Of course, I can go for vacation. I go for vacation at least, maybe 4 times a year now. I travel as I want. However, that's not the satisfaction for me, because even when I'm there, my mind is still here. So the satisfaction for me is the joy that comes from within. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Any more comments? You have anything to say? Any question?
Yes, I have questions here, sir.
Yes, please.
Yeah, firstly, Ms. Williams has dropped information on the chat box. Everybody needs it, please check the chat box. And Mr. Samata too has dropped some links for us. Before we go, please copy the links. So I have 2 questions for our panelists today. Maybe you with depth touch on 2 of them, but I want us to be specific now. And the first one is, how do you people handle competition within the immigrant business community while also fostering collaboration? How do you handle competition within, I'm not talking of competition with white or whatever, local people, but immigrants community. In case you have a competition with them, some of your business might not really have it, but people that have competition with immigrants, how do you cope with it, and then why still fostering collaboration? That's the first question. The second one is, what are some of the biggest challenges immigrant entrepreneurs face when they are trying to collaborate with others? What are the challenges? Because these are things I want us to address as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
So let me just say this, may not be specific to own business, but I've seen in other businesses. I have a friend who started, African supermarket, so to speak, business. And at the beginning, she was expecting patronage to come from amongst the Africans in our small town. And people were not patronizing her. They would rather go to big cities to buy their stuff for cheap, But as long as she was focusing on that, she was getting discouraged. But her change came when she started seeing non-Nigerians, non-Africans, African Americans, white people start to patronize her business. And the moment she changed her focus, her business began to grow. So as much as we all want a scenario where, all Nigerians or all Africans will come together and forge a business, forge an alliance and do kumbaya and everything is great, it's not always going to be like that. I know we have the tendency to compare ourselves to the Jews bind together and do stuff together, but, we're so diverse. Even if you pick a country in Africa alone, it's so diverse that our mindset is different, So whether you have that collaboration amongst your people, as it were, I think the purpose of going into business should be what's driving, your expectation. Competition is good. That's what keeps business innovating. That's what keeps you on your toes. Otherwise, we'll all settle, So competition will be there. But what you just want to make sure is that you're not trying to pull somebody down to pull yourself up. In whichever way you can help somebody else to get up, someone that is just starting to get to that next level, make sure you're doing that to help them. And that will give you one of the greatest joys that you could ever imagine. Don't hoard information. Same way people helped you to get information, be a sharer of information that can help people.
All right.
Join that.
Thank you. Ms. Fatamata.
Yeah, I think I would just echo that same thing. They say one hand washes the other. I think often people are scared to share resources and things, but you giving to somebody else, if it was meant to be for you, it can never take away from you. Whatever God has marked for you, your path, your passions, your success, you giving somebody else assistance is not going to take away from you. And I know for myself, I cannot speak for everyone, but I cannot consider myself fully successful if there are not other people that I've helped to get to where I am or to get to where they need to be. So always make sure you're helping other people, whether, the next generation, you can't speak for everybody else and how everybody else can speak or act, but you need to consider for yourself and how you're going to present your best foot forward. Maybe those people don't want to share resources, but what you're going to do and be different is you're going to share resources. And a lot of times when other people see stuff like that, it can even drive them closer to you and to want to help you more because they can see that you're passionate about something and you have a giving hand as well.
Thank you. Mr. Siddiqui? Yes.
Sorry for that. I kept putting my stuff on and off.
Right.
So another great one, competition is very important in the business. I think competition prepare you to be the best of everyone. And once you compete, I think there's a possibility for you to elevate your business from one point to another. But once you settle, it becomes challenging, especially, once you settle, not just challenging, you forget to place yourself in the positions of competing with other people, one way by the other. So for me, I see competition is really good. And the only issue I have with competition is that I've not had a lot of African competing into the field that I'm actually in. When it comes to doing an RFP, fitting all those people where to gather something from the city or job from the city, something that you can actually do. I've not seen a lot of African competing into that, but we encourage a lot of folks, a lot of African to actually compete into that. So number two, say challenges. I think one of the most challenges thing in the African business has to do with trust. I think trust has been a lot of things that we have dealt with. A lot of people that will confine to or carry our business in our absence has not been trustworthy. So if it can happen to me, I think that go across the line to every African businesses and so forth. That is my take on that. Thank you.
Thank you. An engineer.
All right. So, as far as I'm concerned, competition wise, I really don't have too many competitions. I'm actually praying to have more competitions, as far as I'm concerned, in my field, to see people do exactly what I do, so we can probably compare notes. I've been some people that got up and we try to help them as best as we can, but we're still praying and believing God for them. Now, I just want to talk about collaboration very, very, very briefly. Collaboration is the key to moving forward, especially when the fear of the unknown is the challenge for people. Because I know there are a lot of people on this platform this afternoon who is like asking themselves, oh, what can I do? How do I start? Where do I start from? I don't have the money. Where do I make my payment? How do I pay my salary? How do I pay my rent? Well, those questions are running through your mind. However, maybe sometimes it might be a good thing for you to collaborate with somebody. Speak to the next person. There are a lot of businesses here in New York that are owned by 2, 3, 4, 5 people. And, the problem has always been, well, one, trust. Just like Mr. Siddiqui said, trust has always been a challenge of people coming together. And we've been preaching this. Pastor Wadi has always been a convener of collaboration. Let's come together. Let 2 people start a business. Let 3 people begin something together. Second thing will be funding, which is a big challenge. And again, we have dealt with funding a lot in this meeting today. If you have any further questions, you can reach back. Apart from the little money to begin, by the time you get to a point to start approaching banks, you still need knowledge to even be able to approach the bank, how to set up your, how to get your credit to the right limit, and so on and so forth. Time is another challenge. Who is going to be at the business? Who is going to be running the business? Am I going to leave my business? Am I going to leave my family and go and run it, and the other person is with his family and going on vacation? Those kind of things are challenges that we always face when we are collaborating. And so the last one that I put here, I already mentioned, which is the fear of the unknown. How do we start it? How do we begin it? Look, one thing I tell people is this: if you don't start, you will never start. I'm just going to leave us with that. Let that resonate so well with us. Don't start, you will not start, because there's always a reason not to start. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, engineer. And so we're about to round up now. If there's nobody else who wants to say a thing or two or ask any questions, or do we have anybody that still has a question to ask?
Miss Natalie Williams, I think you want to say something.
Okay. Please go ahead. Ms. Natalie Williams?
Oh, I was just giving kudos to the comments that Mr. Olu made, that planning is important, of course. And for the small business owner, if you're planning to open a business, if you lack the adequate planning, not just what the business will be, but also a contingency plan where you will foresee, identify what are the potential risks that you will encounter, what are the challenges that you will encounter, and have a system in place, that you will, just in the event that if payroll is running short or there is a late payment from one of your customers for the job that you have done, have access to a line of credit that you'll be able to honor your commitment, because the greatest value or asset that any company can have is its employees. And so we want to ensure that we can honor our commitment to our employees, because they're the ones who really help us to achieve the goals of the organization. So it's always important to have a plan in place and be open to change. because at the time you may have been planning your business for a while, but reality has changed, especially in this economic environment. A lot of things have changed. So you need to be conscious and aware of the change in trends, not only in who your customers are, but also how sensitive they are to changes. Maybe you were charging a certain fee for your services, but everything has increased. How flexible, how responsive will your customers be if you have to increase your rates? Or are there options that you can still provide the service at the usual rate and be able to be sustainable as a business? So overall planning comes right back to planning, being objective, and as well as being flexible to make changes as they become necessary for your ultimate success. So again, I want to say, today has really been a very impactful day, very informative, and I appreciate everyone's comments.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And thank you to everybody for your participation. And I hope that we'll be able to pick one or two things out of this roundtable discussion. But before we end this this presentation, I just wanted to ask each and every one of our panelists to just give a word or two of encouragement to anybody who is on this platform who is planning to start something or has started something and there are challenges somewhere, things look a bit difficult. Just a word just to encourage them and keep them going. You can jump in as you feel moved, please. Any of our four panelists.
Okay, let me start. Siddiqui.
Yes.
Mr. Tapia, right? Again, I hope I got your name right. I want to take it right. I want to use the opportunity to say thank you. You asked for the right questions, and thank you. And the second thing that I want to say is that we are in the forum where we can network. We shouldn't forget to network. Please drop your contact in the message box so we can take those numbers and reach out after date. I think that's one of the most important things that we're doing here. Number three that I also want to talk about is that we are Africans right now, and nobody know African other than ourselves. We are all African. So anything that we have to do, we have to work within our made in order to carry our message out there. People will deal with us the way in which we present ourselves. One of the regret, it's not a regret. One of the things that I'm working on, and I pray that that come to pass, is to have an Africans in the Bronx where we have most African live than any other city in the United States to represent us politically. Because I know that if we getting involved in the businesses and all of those things, there should be a decision that should be made in our favor. And in order for those decisions to go through, either the government and so forth, there has to be an African that know us and where we can present those business ideas so those decisions to be made. So that's something that I would want us to do, to have Africans to represent us when it comes to politics in the city council or assembly or somewhere in Albany. That's the third one. The fourth one, let me know if I'm talking a lot so I can stop.
It's okay. It's okay.
Right.
We can take you, but please shorten it. 30 seconds.
Okay, 30 seconds.
Yes.
So the fourth one that I want to do is if you have any idea, please, I'll put my email and my number in the chat box. Reach out to me. I will work out with you to see how we can work with that to make sure to make your business idea a success. We can write it down and work on it. I will give you time, everything that I got to do in order for to work on it. And the last one that I want to do is that as I'm sitting down right now, the last part is that I'm still trying to open businesses. My entire living room, I open my own brokerage firm. My brokerage firm is going to be in my living room where we'll have people from everywhere to come and invest into the stock market. And while I can teach younger generations, they will be able to come to mine a home to invest. So those things I have not seen a lot of African involved. I think is some way in order for you to get for you to have a financial free mindset is to be able to invest into the stock market and take advantage of the financial
All right.
situation in the United States. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Pastor Loshunde, anything to encourage people who are in this and they will just want to keep pushing?
Well, so once again, thanks, Pastor Wade, for organizing this, and thanks to all the panelists and everybody that has been on this event, in this program. I would just say, whatever you have in your heart, don't give up on your dream. It may not always work out the way you want it to work out, but do your homework. Be patient with yourself. Have the right people around you that will support you, whether it's friends, family, whoever. Know that this journey of entrepreneurship is a journey. It's not a destination. So be patient with yourself. Know that you're going to make mistakes. Maybe you started a business and things are not working well and you've made mistakes. You will make mistakes. Just make sure you're learning from them. Don't be close-minded. Make sure you're always open to learning, open to growing. And, like I said, it's a journey. It's not a destination. Just make sure you're not living your life for someday when I get there. Enjoy every moment of it with the challenges and growth that comes along the way.
Thank you.
So that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Fatimata?
I would just say two things. If you're not sure if you're in the right direction, by being on this call, you're already on the right direction because you're taking the initiative to learn more, to hear from other people who are already in the field. And like I keep saying, research. So you're already doing the first step. And I would say when you get to where you want to be, just make sure you continue to share resources. We should have many more of these. Each of us who have our own businesses, we should be hosting our own Zoom sessions to provide resources to other people, creating our own WhatsApp chat, maybe, or whatever it is, to just provide more resources and sharing to other people so that we can all get to where we need to be. But I would say you're already doing what you need to be by being on this call and reach out to, the different people in this thing. I have to log off now, but I did put my email and my LinkedIn there if anybody has further questions for me. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this.
You're most welcome. Thank you. Bye. Yeah. Engineer Olu, can you bring us home with this?
Okay, so thank you so much, and I want to appreciate everybody. Thank you, Brad Tokwe, for coordinating us today. Thank you so much to Peter Abigail Foundation. One thing, if I want to drop anything at all, because I am in everybody's shoe. I mean, I was in everybody's shoe too in the beginning. So if you are thinking of starting, please start. There are things that second thing is there are things that I know now that I wish I knew when I started my business though. So there will always be, hiccup on the way, but ask the right question, hit the right button, check the right boxes, talk to the right people, look for further information. Like Pastor Bose put in the chat box, things are changing every single day. Myself and Pastor Tokwe were talking 2 days ago, and he said, how has AI affected my business? Well, AI is affecting everybody now, and I'm looking so hard to see where and how can I get this AI into my business. So the struggle does not stop. Don't think once you start the business, then that's the end. No, we're going to keep asking questions. But please ask the right question and from the right people. And just like Fatimata said, you are in the right place. You have people. And look, us just speaking here, just scratching the surface. There are people that have better, more articulate knowledge than we do here that can give us further information. Please, let's do more of this. And just like Siddiqui said too, he told us about his dream. My own dream is this for us as a community. I don't know how many of us watch Shark Tank. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing that has been in my head that I wish our community can get into, where people just come and present ideas to a panel of maybe 5, 6, 7, 10 people, and then they still support your business. There's money available. It's not like we're still struggling to get money, or, you know, we should get to that point where we should be our own bank in our community by ourselves. I know we're getting there. That's my vision. And I hope by God's grace we'll get there one of these days. Thank you so much for having me today. Thank you to Peter Abigail Foundation. God bless everyone.
A big amen to that. Yes, and now we've really dealt with this topic. Of course, there are ongoing conversations. There are things we still need to look into to perfect our strategies and get going. But if there's anybody out there on this platform today who is looking to start business or do what they need to do, he or she needs to do, please just take everything you've been taught to heart and go for it. It is possible. We have the power. There's nothing that can stop us. We are the only ones who can determine how far we go. So thank you so much. It's been wonderful, the opportunity to host this